point statements or beliefs expressed on the following program by the host, guests, or callers are not necessarily the opinions of FantasyXS.com, Media Group Inc. ownership, management, sponsors, or website. Heat fans, the fast break is on. It's our Baptist Health of South Florida Heat Report with insider Anthony Chiang. From orthopedics, sports medicine, cardiovascular, and even cancer. Get the world-class healthcare your family deserves at BaptistHealth.net. Here's Anthony Chiang.
There he is, locked and loaded and ready to go. How you feeling, my man? You feeling good for the weekend?
It's Friday, Big O. I'm feeling good. How are you?
I am feeling great. I'm feeling great because, you know, this is really an interesting development with the whole Damian Lillard thing. I know you're probably wondering, what the hell is he talking about? And so it's interesting because
I think I know where you're heading, but yeah.
Huh?
I think I know where you're heading. I think so. Go ahead.
You know where I'm headed. Okay. All right. Because I want you fans to listen to this. Because, you know, the NBA was called upon to be the watchdog. Hey, Joe Cronin goes, hey, NBA, please go tell them, those Lillard people, not to tell everybody not to trade for him and all that, right? And so the NBA, you know, put out their whole thing. Hey, make sure you're not doing this and whatever, right? But the entity that was chosen to be the watchdog has now become the left tackle for the Miami Heat. Because this new rule, you're going to have to play your stars. No. I saw the article of Barry Jackson. I'm going in another direction. I always think next level. That's why our show usually is ahead of everybody else. Forget about that's the obvious. You would get fined. You can't hide them. You can't stash all that stuff, of course. But here's the best part. Because you can't do that, you also can't keep them on your roster and start giving him only 15 minutes a night or 20 minutes a night and play the youngins. And then you're going to create, you know, animosity. You're going to have a very unhappy person. So Portland is now stuck in a position where they have to trade him. They only have one option. They can't stash him like Ben Simmons or some shit like that and say, hey, yeah, you take care of yourself and relax and we'll try to find a partner. And you can't necessarily put him back on your roster to then all of a sudden say, well, you know, you're going to be kind of a mentor player type where we're going to, you know, Scoot's going to take up a lot of minutes and you'll back him up. And you can't do that either. So the rule has created one problem. And then you have the other problem that you're not going to be able to balance minutes there.
Yeah.
Either he's the man or he's not. Period.
Yes.
And
yes. I think you would still be able to fulfill the rule if he played 15, 20 minutes in a backup role. The NBA can't legislate what role he plays, but he is not going to be happy in that role. So like you said, if the NBA is going to make Portland play him, unless there's an injury, unless there's a real injury, right? Because I guess now the NBA can investigate if they say, oh, he has a sore hamstring. They could get a league doctor to check to make sure that's real. If they are going to make him play, yeah, he's probably going to have to play his normal minutes, 30 plus minutes. And you know, maybe Damian Lillard will do that, right? Look, we've talked about it. We don't know if he's going to create a mess. A lot of people don't think he will. He loves Portland. He feels, you know, very tied to that city and that region of the country. But Portland, if he does, even if he agrees to play and he starts the season on that team, Portland risks him getting injured. And then his stock at 33, 34 years old goes down even more, and his trade value goes down. So Portland is in a really difficult situation. Like I said, they're not technically forced to trade him, but I mean, why wouldn't they trade him at this point? With not only this
you
rule,
added like icing on the cake. That the more you wait, the shelf life on the product, that you were getting closer to the expiration date, and it's over then. At one point.
You risk an injury, and then what? What does Portland get from then? You know, with that contract at that age. So I don't know. I mean, Portland has to cash in at this point. He wants to be traded. He's made it very clear where he wants to be traded. They're going in another direction. They're rebuilding around a young point guard that is probably going to be very good. The NBA is not going to let you just say, well, we'll keep you away from the team or on the bench for the first month or two of the season until maybe the market expands. They can do that now with this new NBA rule. It's just so many things working against the Blazers at this point. It's hard to imagine that. I said this the last few months since he requested the trade, but even now with this rule, it makes my belief even stronger. I don't think he starts the season with Portland. It's
we're
hard to
halfway
believe that.
through the month.
Yeah.
We're halfway through the month, so we're kind of in the final. We're entering the final 2 weeks of for lack of a better term, shit or get off the pot.
It could happen in season, right? I mean, it could happen in camp or preseason. It could. This rule doesn't go into effect to the regular season. It could happen.
Do you want to answer those questions every single day?
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I feel like
the coach is going to have to answer that every single day. Teammates will have to answer it every single day. They will bombard Lillard with it every single day because everybody knows he doesn't want to be there no matter what. You know what I mean? Although I think he's going to create a polite stink. I think he's going to create the kind of stink that is going to be a emotional plea to the fans in a way. Like, hey, this has nothing to do with the fans. I couldn't love Portland more. I've given everything and anything that I could possibly do, And so at one point, we all want to win a championship, and we're not ready to win one here. And I don't have much of a window, and he could come in and get emotional and all that kind of stuff and say, hey, I love Portland, but this is nothing to do with the fans or anything. This is just what I need to do to close out my career. And maybe the fans will be sympathetic at that point and actually go more after the franchise for not doing right by him. I don't know. What have you sensed is the feeling from fans in Portland?
Well, I actually spoke to another reporter who is familiar with that area, and he says it's just such a unique situation because most of the time fans turn against the player, right, who's requesting a trade away from their team. But in this case, they're like, we understand. You've given, 11, 12 years here. You've been loyal. You've been the face of the franchise. You've been through rebuilds. You've been through different, phases with this team. We get you. You're 33 years old. You want to win a championship. You haven't won a championship. You haven't even been to a finals, with Portland. We understand. Yeah. Obviously, they'd rather have him on their team, but this is not the typical, LeBron James leaving Cleveland burning jerseys type of thing. This is fans understanding where Damian Lillard is coming from. And I agree, there's more that Damian Lillard could do, but you talk about a polite stink. I think that's kind of what he's been building up toward, right? Like he's done this. He hasn't trashed Portland. He hasn't trashed the public. Yeah, he did the interview with ESPN's Mark Spears, and they asked him he said, I don't want to talk about Portland. I have a lot of love for that, the city and that franchise. He wants to be traded, but he hasn't. It's not like what James Harden did with Daryl Morey, right? It's totally different.
My point is, once he reports, he's going to have to create some kind of stink. And I think at that moment, it becomes a polite, emotional stink that people understand already at this point. I'm kind of brain farting right now, but I could have sworn we have just gone through that with somebody just recently in one of the sports that somebody got left late in their careers to somewhere else. I don't know why I'm thinking about that. Why I think it just recently happened in the last couple of years. I don't know why, but this is something. Ray Bork,
Aaron Rodgers, Aaron Rodgers.
But at least he won his.
Yeah.
Before he left.
Right. Sure. Okay, I get you. I see what you're saying. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah.
This was kind of getting pushed up. Ray Bork was because he wasn't winning anything with the Bruins, and they traded him to the Avalanche, and he ended up winning a championship with the Avalanche. Something like that. That's
didn't somebody get traded? I don't know. I'm not an avid hockey fan, but didn't somebody from Philadelphia get traded to the Panthers a couple years ago? That was a very good flyer.
Oh yeah. Exactly. Yes, and they only had him for 1 year. Yes.
Yeah. Rental.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
The year they were the number one team in the league, and then they they obviously lost in the second round.
Yes. Right. Exactly. Yeah. It was. This was the year he needed, the one that
Yeah.
just passed.
Right.
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 Before, unfortunately, but yeah, you're right that he came only for 1 year and then he left again.
He left, yeah.
I'm brain farting his name, but exactly, but something like that. And I think this one is kind of understandable. I think everybody understands it because because they see it in Portland. They see that they've got a nice team with a couple young guys, but they know that that's not going anywhere in the NBA. The NBA, you got to have experience to get to the NBA finals, man. You know, a bunch of young guys, it'll happen like the Magic. And then, an experienced team will spank you and send you home because you were the upstart, youngins that got there with no experience and you're wide-eyed and all that kind of stuff. So that's the cool thing about it. And I think that's what we're, within a couple of weeks now of maybe the polite stink coming.
Yeah, and it just makes sense, right? For the Blazers, for Damian Lillard. Like, if you're a fan of the Blazers, yes, again, you want Damian Lillard on your team, but you also want to see Scoot get extended minutes. You want to see Anthony Simons get extended minutes. And with Damian Lillard there, obviously he's going to eat into that playing time. So it just makes sense. You're rebuilding. You're building around this guard who everybody thinks could be one of the best players in the NBA, and Scoot Henderson. He needs to be the face of the franchise now. He needs to be the guy you build around. And if Damian Lillard is still there, it's like two different eras kind of there at the same time, and it just doesn't really make sense. It's going to be messy, especially with Damian already asking for a trade, right? It's not like even if he didn't ask for a trade, it would kind of make sense for him to move off of Damian Lillard at this point. This is the time to trade him, right? With the contract.
Brett Favre is what it is.
Yeah, right. So it just makes so much sense. Again, this is dragging out for now over 2 months. But I don't see how he's there on the roster past, I guess, when the regular season starts, mid-October, so late October.
By the way, if you go to the Miami Herald, he's got a new article with Kevin Love. And so I ask you, will Kevin Love be an artist for 82 plus on the court for the Miami Heat? Will he be painting those full court passes and stroking threes all season long and into the playoffs? That's what I'm concerned about with Kevin Love. I heard him. The funny part is the whole myth and the whole thing about practice, and because he hasn't seen. And I
asked him about that. Yeah.
And how that thing resonates with guys all over the damn league. Like, yeah, dude, when you go to Miami, they don't fuck around there, bro.
Right.
That kind of shit.
Yeah, no, he said, he's like, I ask a lot of questions, and that's actually one of the things I've asked guys. Like, is this for real? Like, what's a Heat training camp like? Because, like you said, everyone in the league, like, you hear the stories about how Pat Riley ran training camp, how Spo runs training camp, the famed conditioning test that puts players through hell, even before training camp, right? Just to make sure you meet the conditioning standards. First couple, So, and he said, he's like, usually when I make it to the finals, and he made it with Cleveland a few times, I start my preparation for the following season a little later because this offseason shorter. He said this time I started earlier, just in preparation for what I'm expecting in a Heat camp. So. And he made an interesting point. He's like, I asked him why he decided to resign, right? Because we hadn't talked to him this offseason yet. And he said, obviously he likes the coaches. He has a good relationship with the front office and Mickey Arison and Nick Arison. He said he felt like he started slow last year when he got here, obviously. And the playoffs, he kind of got comfortable with the role. And he wants to see what it's going to be like what impact he can make if he's here from the start of the season. And we didn't see that, right? We saw him kind of get better as the year went on. The first month or so was rough for him. He lost his starting job, and then he was pretty much a starter in the playoffs. I don't know if he's going to start again. We'll see. But he's interested to see what it's going to be like if he starts the season here, and maybe that will be different.
Yeah, no, because once you get comfortable, you know the system, you know everything. Obviously, he's going to be much more comfortable already because he played a good portion last year. So at least he got some experience in the system and in key moments too. That's the other thing that he got to play in the postseason, which is huge in a chemistry sense. You know what I mean? Going into next year. So it's going to be interesting how Spo also manages him, throughout
Definitely.
the year, because he does have to be managed because he's at that point where he has to be managed. So I thought that was kind of interesting. So you guys should check out the article. He's got it there in the Miami Herald. Subscribe and support our local journalists, folks. By the way, did you see Markieff Morris on with
I heard about it. Yeah.
Yeah, he hasn't let that thing go, bro. I mean, it's like,
I mean, what do you
what?
blame him? That cost him I
Well,
mean, he was going to be in the rotation, that year, and then he missed most of the season. He did lost his rotation job, his role in the
I
team, but
I blame him. I
well,
blame
for
him
put
for
right. I know. Yeah.
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 He it was his fault. He did not. He started with it. He did not make. That's what I love about this whole thing. He takes no responsibility for his actions.
They
That
were
he
both in
could
the
have
wrong. Yeah.
injured Jovic, and he wasn't trying for the ball either at the same time. So Jovic, hey bro, an eye for an eye. Oh, so you want to go at me? And Jokic, I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm
I
getting
know. I get
confused with
mixed
our
up
guy.
too. Yeah, and I get mixed up
And,
too.
and it's like, and it's like, yo, bro, what am I going to give you a free shot? No, I'm going to unload on your ass so you'll remember me for the rest of your life. And that's apparently
Yeah.
what's happened.
Yeah, they were both in the wrong. I'll never forget that night in Denver. I remember after I mean, obviously it was very tense in by the locker rooms after that game. No players spoke to us. It was the only time since I've covered the team that no players were available after the game because I don't think they wanted to make them available because of what those guys probably would have said. Only Eric Spoelstra spoke. Obviously, that picture with Andy Ellisberg in the hallway blocking the doorway because both locker rooms are really close to each other in Denver. It was a crazy night, and it happened toward the end of the game too. So we were just like wrapping up our game stories, and then that changed the whole narrative of surrounding that game.
Wow, that's all. And what a veteran move by Tim Donovan. Yeah, no,
I know.
nobody's talking. Nobody's talking.
Tim Donovan knows
best.
what he's doing. Tim Donovan knows what he's doing. That's for sure. He's been through it all.
Playing chess while the rest of us are fucking playing
Yeah.
checkers. Right?
Yeah.
Let's not kid ourselves. The Heat organization plays chess, and the rest of us are playing checkers, bro. Okay, they're just smart. To this day, nobody still knows what Green was high on in that lobby. That's how good those people are. Okay, none of you have found out. Not even Barry Jackson broke that story.
The buzz.
Barry is everywhere. He's like
Yeah.
Sagwa Fair. He's everywhere. It's amazing.
And 2 days later, after the Morris Jokic incident, he practiced in LA. I remember because they were playing the Clippers next, and that's when we got to speak to players. And by then, everybody was cooled down. We talked to Udonis Haslem. He said all the right things. I respect Jokic. It is, it happens. It was perfectly played by the Heat. Perfectly played.
Like most of the things they always do. 99% of everything they do is pretty much the right stuff. They'll make their mistakes like everybody else, but they'll make a lot less mistakes than everybody else. That's the difference between that organization and 26 other ones, because there's only a couple of other ones that are good like them. The rest of them are all constant screw ups. So give us the dates. What are we looking for here? What's the date of report? What are we targeting here?
October 2 Media Day at the arena, I believe. They actually just sent the email as we started this segment of announcing the details of training camp. So let me look it over. And I kind of knew this, but just making sure it's correct. October 3, which is a Tuesday through that Saturday, October 7th, they will be holding training camp at FAU in Boca Raton. So staying local, I mean, they'll stay in Boca, obviously, for training camp that week. But they'll be at FAU for camp, and then they'll come down to do their red, white, and pink scrimmage at the arena on Sunday, and then I think they open preseason on Tuesday. So it's going to be a busy week for that team.
On the second, we're focused on Miami and Portland. They open the same day.
Yeah, I believe so. Pretty much every team except the ones playing like a preseason game overseas, or earlier than others, they all open on media day October 2. So if Damian Lillard is still in Portland, or even if he's traded to Miami by then, we'll be focused on Portland because that'll be a big story. That'll be the story of Portland Media Day one way or the other.
Well, listen, if Pat, if you want to make me happy, okay, this message is out for Pat Riley, because we know the Heat watches any and every anything that's heat out there. They track everything, bro. They know anything and everything that's going on. So, Pat, if you want to make me happy, I turn 57 on October 1st. So it would only make sense that you trade for Lillard on my birthday and have him here on October 1st, right before training camp starts.
And the Dolphins win against the Bills.
And yes, we are doing the pre and post game show live from Vegas. We got to go out for showtime. We're out in showtime for the Canelo fight. So we're covering the Canelo fight. I'm also going to see the first night of U2 in the Sphere in Vegas.
That's awesome. That Sphere looks amazing. I mean, when I was in Summer League this year, and I kept walking past that. Oh my God, that seems like an awesome venue for a concert for sure.
Yeah, well, obviously it was just built for music, so I can't wait to go in. So I get to go opening night to the Sphere to see U2, and then we do the Bills and the Dolphins on Sunday, and then hopefully Pat Riley makes the move for Damian Lillard. And what a weekend, bro!
What a birthday that would be if that plays out that way. The Dolphins beat the Bills. You're in Las Vegas. The Heat trade for Dame. I mean,
I saw you do the first night in the Sphere. I mean,
yeah.
What else is there?
Yeah,
I'm done.
That's
that's a weekend right there, baby.
I'm hoping for your sake it plays out that way. That will be fun.
Hopefully for our sake, because I'm not asking for me. I'm asking for a selfless present for the entire Heat Nation is what I'm asking for. It's not for me. The U2 concert, that's for me, baby.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm the guy there enjoying it, but I want Lillard for all. That's like a present for all of us here. You know what I mean? So
my prediction remains he will be with the Heat. So that's my message to Nathan. Stay calm. I think he'll still end up with the Heat this season.
I think he'll end up with the Heat by my birthday. How about that?
I mean, I don't want to. I say before the regular season. But yes, it could very well happen for your birthday. I would not be surprised.
I just don't think they want him reporting to training camp and answering all those questions.
Well, yeah, I agree. It could happen before your birthday. I would not be surprised by that.
All I think of is Howard and Van Gundy. That's all I think of is Dwight Howard and Stan Van Gundy, bro. That disaster of a press conference.
If they can avoid that, I'm sure they would like to avoid that. So yes, I could definitely see it before your birthday, for sure.
Let's. All right, what do you got going on in the Herald, man? So folks can check you out.
Yeah, you mentioned I have the story on Kevin Love. Spoke with him this week. He was an art curator for an auction in New York later this month. So he spoke about his love for art. He spoke about why he came back to the Heat as a free agent this summer. We talked about the expectations entering his first Heat training camp. He also spoke about the uncertainty still surrounding the roster, obviously with Lillard, all the Lillard speculation still out there, and as a leader, how he'll handle that if that's still looming over the team entering camp. Talked about knowing every guy's in a different situation. Whether it's Tyler Hero, where he's been in discussions all summer, Kyle Lowry entering his 18th season, maybe playing off the bench, Duncan Robinson and out of the lineup last year. Like everyone is kind of has their own situation going on. And as a leader, he wants to be aware of that and kind of play to each person's situation. So check it out. I think it was a pretty insightful interview with him, and it's the first time we spoke to him all summer.
Yeah, it's good to see and gives you another side of him too at the same time. But by the way, a little off color there. Are you that dude also that can look at art and the artist was thinking that the world is fuck? How do you know what it says there? It's a cloud. How did you read all of that?
My wife is into it. My wife is into that, but I'm not. I mean, I appreciate nice art, but I'm not one to say, oh, this is this and this is that. No, it looks nice. That's my commentary.
I'll go. In fact, speaking of the Miami Heat, I'll go down to downtown Miami and I'll look at some of those buildings and I'll go, now that's art, bro. There's some buildings there.
The buildings are beautiful. Yeah, the one across from the arena. Yeah,
that's the kind of
my wife is actually that I have learned to appreciate. My wife is an architect, so she loves. She's always talking about that and taking pictures when we go to different cities of different buildings. So I've come to appreciate that. And yeah, there are some really nice buildings.
I'm with both of you on that one. Yeah. I love that. That to me is artful. Okay, when I see buildings and structures and the way they're built and all that kind of stuff, and the creativity at times. And I love the ones now where they've got their own gardens and forest and walkways and all kinds of, more greenery. So I'm into that, a painting with a whole bunch of strokes, this, there, and then I'm supposed to it's eclectic, but it's this, and come on, I can't do that.
Just ask Kevin Love.
And then they tell me here it's only 300,000. No, sorry. No.
It could be yours for 250,000, Big O.
Yeah. I'd rather get a condo for 250,000 than one of those things.
Right. No, I agree with you. Totally.
That's how I would invest it, right? All right. Follow him on Twitter at Anthony_Chiang. Catch his exceptional work there at the Miami Herald. As always, Anthony, I appreciate you, my brother. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, Big O. Have a good weekend.
The Baptist Health of South Florida Miami Heat Report with Anthony Chiang is brought to you by Baptist Health of South Florida. From orthopedics, sports medicine, cardiovascular, and even cancer. Get the world-class healthcare your family deserves at BaptistHealth.net.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.